Curious how I feel about Smite and a Smite 2 drama going on.
Smite 2 just got announced yesterday, and it's already causing quite the stir in their community. If you were to take what Twitter is saying literally, the game is already dead on arrival.
Oh, wow. Well, that's kind of bad. They should just cancel it then.
So if you're not familiar with Smite, it's a third-person MOBA with a ton of different gods that you play as. I played it a little bit back in the day, and I actually enjoyed it, but there were just so many other games that I was playing at the time, I just never really invested a bunch of time into it. But the big controversy is that the vast majority of the skins that you purchased or earned in Smite 1 aren't being moved over to Smite 2. Now, Smite 1 initially released in 2014.
So that's what people are mad about? They're mad about skins?
Made on Unreal Engine 3. Smite 2, which is set to go into alpha testing, I think in the summer of this year, was built from the ground up on Unreal Engine 5. On the frequently asked questions part of their website, the developers say that Smite 2 is a multi-generational leap from Smite 1, from UE3 to UE5. That means we have to completely rework or recreate every piece of content for it to function in Smite 2. There are currently over 1,600 skins in Smite.
I mean, most games do this. Like, the only reason CSGO didn't do this with CS2 is because, I mean, gambling on skins is, like, probably more popular than playing the game. So it's like, it would be better if they didn't port over the game and they ported over the skins. And it's like, yeah, it's CSGO 2, and there's just all new skins. There's nothing else is the same. And so, like, yeah, I get that.
Excluding mastery skins,
Call of
to
Duty
just port every skin to Smite 2 would take about 246 person years of work.
That's a lot of time.
And we couldn't do both that and make Smite 2 as amazing as we knew it could be if we focused on starting anew. So to make this transition a little better,
I mean, are they wrong? Like, I don't think that they're wrong. Probably not. Yeah, I don't really think so.
Is offering what they're calling legacy gems.
And also, I want to say, too, that it is disappointing that people don't have new skin, their skins ported over. Like, it's definitely disappointing, and, like, PoE 2 did that, and so did Overwatch 2. So, like, obviously, it would be great if they were able to do this, but is this something that, like, you need to have, and, like, if you don't, the game is DOA? No, I don't think so.
I'll also quote from the facts section. I want to make sure I get all of this right. For every gem that you've ever spent in Smite 1, free or purchased, you'll receive a legacy gem in Smite 2. What's
the popular place that everybody plays Smite on? Does it have its own launcher, or do people play it on Steam? People play it on Steam? Well, let's see how popular the game is. Okay, so, like, I'm assuming whenever they announced Smite 2, it went up by a lot. So, like, on average, they had, like, 12,000 people playing the game. It's big on Xbox. Yeah, it's not bad, but, like, is it really a good use of their time to redo all of their skins for such a small player base? Like, I don't know if that's a good decision. Like, that's, for example, so, like, in my mind, right? New World. New World's probably about the same size of a game, and maybe a bit smaller, maybe a bit larger, depending, right? But somewhere around New World size. If New World made New World 2, would I be angry at them that they didn't port over all of the old skins? No. Do I think that they should invest that time and money into doing that? No. Seems like a waste.
Gems can be used to pay for 50% of the price of most in-game purchases in Smite 2. So things like skins, battle passes, and events in Smite 2 will be half off until you spend all of your legacy gems. And if you purchase a Smite Founders Pack, your legacy gems will be doubled. As Smite 2's currency is changing slightly from Smite, this ensures that you'll have the equivalent purchasing power. So you basically get a 50% discount on anything moving forward based on how much you spent in the last title, meaning every skin that you want to buy in Smite 2 will have a 50% discount. You still have to put more money into it, and this is what people are having a big problem with. Because your skins aren't transferring, people are freaking the fuck out, using comparisons to Overwatch and CS2 as reasons as to...
I mean, like, let's just be honest, though. Like, Overwatch and CS2 have a development studio that is gigantic. Like, what are we talking about? Like, this is it's a dramatically different like scale. Like, you can't expect a small developer to be able to do that.
why all of the skins that they paid for and the thousands of dollars spent.
Like, I bet if the developers of Smite could push a button and just be like, all the skins are ported over, boom, do it, I bet they do it. It's not like they aren't doing it because they don't want to do it.
For the last 10 years should be honored and moved forward into the new title. Their Twitter account has been spammed under every single post from gamers angry that their skins aren't being moved up 2 engine generations. This gamer here says, all I read is spend more money, we don't care about your old skins.
To be fair, this is literally a tweet with no likes, no retweets, and no comments that has 3 views.
LOL. The fact that we're supposed to just give up hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of skins, plus to be expected to keep paying for more stuff in Smite 2 is genuinely delusional. You ain't making more money from me when you won't respect my money. This gamer here, Big Dick Deviant, says,
I'm sorry to say, but like I think that they bring a good point in, but at the same time, there is a little bit of ridiculousness. Like, not respecting your money and you're buying skins in a video game, like I don't think that you're respecting your money either. Like, that's just my opinion, right? Like I'm not saying that like they should just delete or take away all the skins, but like, do we really have to get that serious about it?
50% discount isn't enough for the thousands of dollars we spent on this game. Real WRU says, you guys are criminals. I want a refund for all the skins that I have purchased. And Dexterol here says, honestly, I don't think I'm going to play Smite 2. I have over 1,300 skins, spent thousands. If they can't even port the skins over, there's no point.
My God.
They're not even giving you the gems to buy them back. They're basically giving you legacy gems to buy a skin for 50% off. This user here just wants them to port all of the old models into Unreal Engine 5 without changing the graphics. The game will still function the same. You'll just see lower quality skins from UE3 and the new UE5 skins can coexist. Tell me you have zero clue about anything you're talking about, but I'm really
well, and it's also like, I feel like it's probably not that simple, number one. Number two, all of these people are looking at it from a perspective of a person who is a big fan of Smite, and they're actively playing Smite. So these solutions and these problems are from the mindset of a person who is super invested into it. They're like, they have $1,000 into it. Like, is it a good thing for new players whenever Smite 2 comes out that they log into the game, even theoretically, and they see a bunch of low poly models? No. I bet if people saw that, they would think, wow, this game looks really cheap. I don't think I want to spend money on it. So it's like, again, they're not looking at it from the perspective beyond their own.
Curious as to what you guys think, because
that doesn't mean that they're wrong. Like, I don't think that they're wrong for being frustrated and disappointed, and I think that they're right. It does suck that this is happening, but at the end of the day, I can see why they would do it.
I'm kind of sitting here and like, I can definitely understand the frustrations from gamers. Like, you spent a bunch of money on this game, a new one's coming out, and like all your skins like no longer transfer over. Yeah, that sucks. But like, duh, like, is this not what we've been talking about for the last like 10 years on this channel? Microtransactions are a money sink. Like, you don't buy microtransactions if you're not okay with
you don't own them. And that's a big thing that a lot of people need to understand whenever they purchase a microtransaction. Whenever you buy, let's say, the Celestial Steed in WoW, or like one of these cosmetics in Smite, you don't actually own that cosmetic. You only own a license that allows you to use the cosmetic that's given to you by the developer that they can remove at any time for any reason. You literally don't own anything. It's only one step above having an NFT.
Is losing them when the next games come out. Now, I know a lot of people are making comparisons to Overwatch. Overwatch was literally regarded as like a 1.5. It was like people were pissed.
And that's also a very good point. Yeah, like, why are you comparing to Overwatch 2 whenever Overwatch 2 was bad?
basically felt like a DLC, right? The engine difference there is like negligible. The game is essentially running on the exact same engine. This is the first year that Modern Warfare allowed you to bring your skins forward, which was a cool thing, but Modern Warfare 3 has been destroyed in the online community for being a DLC and being not that much of an engine upgrade. So while they brought the skins over, the upgrade to it was negligible. This is taking models and skins and UVs and all of that from Unreal Engine 3, an engine that came out.
I think this guy's bringing up a really good point, and actually it illustrates a bigger delusion with people that think that Web3 is the future of development for video games and that you can own your skins and then use them in other games. Like, for example, people think that, like, oh, well, you want to be able to own, you know, you actually own the NFTs for these skins. Why would it be in the developer's best interest for them to program in functionality for skins in another video game? Why would they ever do that? Like, if you have Invincible in World of Warcraft, how exactly would you use that in Counter-Strike? Because that would require the developers at Valve to program in being able to use Invincible. They're completely incompatible. And this is like, again, people always compare. It's like, oh, yeah, it's the gun. It's like, oh, one gun to another gun. But that's just not the way these games work.
What, 15 years ago? Upgrading to Unreal Engine 5, which I know would be a lot of work. On top of the fact that the game is now being built from scratch on Unreal Engine 5, it would be a fuckload of work to be able to make this happen.
It would be.
The community is up in arms. So while I'm sitting here, like, I understand the frustration from gamers, but I also think, like, if you spent thousands of dollars in microtransactions in a video game, that's kind of on you, right?
It is.
But, like, I'm all for...
It's definitely on you, and, like, you can't expect the video game to exist in a way that makes you feel good about your microtransactions. It's a very selfish perspective to have. It's like saying in like a gacha game, well, I don't want to have them add in new characters because the new characters would make my old characters not as important. It's very selfish, and it's also like, it's reductive to what the potential of the game could ever be.
Pro-consumer practices, but this just feels a little strange to me that people who bought skins back in 2015 expect those skins to be ported over to a new game. Even if you bought skins...
Well, I think that, again, people just want that, right? I mean, it's not that even that they expect it, they just want it. Because some games have it, some games don't have it. Smite 1 will still be available even whenever Smite 2 is out. You can say it's selfish, but if there's enough customers that feel that, you don't have a fan base. Well, you also don't have a fan base if all you do is make things that reward people that are already customers. Because eventually those people will drop off naturally. I think Retail WoW is a great example of that. So, like, if you only make content for the people that are already playing your game, you never expand your sphere of influence beyond that.
Last year, or hell, even last week, you can still use them in Smite 1. You can still play them. You weren't scammed, but the calls that, like, Smite are criminals for
let's take a look and see right now. Smite game. Okay, so we're going to look at their last 3 tweets. There's this one, and then there's this one, and then there's this one. Okay, so let's look and see how many people are actually bringing it up. Smite 2 looks amazing. So these new skins will transfer. Is there no reason to buy a new skin if they aren't transferring? I mean, to be fair, like, this is a very fair question. Like, this guy's asking, like, are the skins that you are advertising in this tweet going to transfer? Like, this is I'm not even going to count this one. Good update. How are we going to fix the battle pass? Better have Smite 1 skin. Okay, so there's one guy. Okay, so it's like there's one guy who posted something that was problematic, and he was complaining. There's one guy. And then let's look at the second tweet. Year 11 drops next week. Are the avatar skins? I mean, this is a very fair question, right? Makes perfect sense. Why would you even play whenever you're going to lose everything in Smite 2? Okay, there's one person, right? Which is like, I mean, to be fair, like if you're advertising skins right now in Smite 1 and you're telling people that they're going to be gone in Smite 2, it seems very fair that people would bring that up. I think that's totally true. Then there's this one here, Quiet Throwback Friday. So this is like, there's nothing. I feel like this isn't so bad. Deep dive on some of the features. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people really aren't bringing this up as much as it might seem. What's the point whenever skins don't transfer? Was this the same guy? No, it's a different guy. Okay, so there's like this has like 4 likes. Check the Reddit. Let me see. I'll look at the Reddit. Smite 2 skin should automatically include Color Forge idea. Oh, about having, yeah, you can change the color. Yeah, that's probably true. Let me see. The top for this month. Yeah, talking about skins, gameplay of Smite 2, it really matters. Possible Cupid remodel. Clarification of skins. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is pretty contentious on Reddit. Yeah, I mean, it's like one of the top posts and it has 500 comments. Yeah, okay, all right. There's enough people that are like that.
Rebuilding the game on a new engine and providing a free experience on a new engine, a sequel to bring new life to the game, and they are met with
this is fair.
Just an overwhelming amount of negativity because people...
Well, no, it's totally fair for people to be negative. They spend a lot of money and they really like the skins and they want to be able to use them in the new game. They're not wrong for thinking that or feeling that way. That's totally true.
Who
it's just like they
money
can't do it.
And spent potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars on skins aren't going to have them in a sequel when they didn't even know a sequel existed at the time of purchase. I'm having a tough time defending the gamers here, but it's weird because...
Well, I think that it would be really nice if the Smite 2 developers said, like, hey, you know, like, over time, we're going to add some more of the Smite 1 skins in. Like, not all of them, but, like, maybe a few every year, or maybe, like, 5 every year for each champion. That'd be nice if they could do that. Maybe a bit of a compromise, because a lot of people did invest. Because at the end of the day, right, they did say that. They are every week. They did? Oh, well, what the fuck? Well, then why are people getting mad? Like, yeah, I don't even get that. So if that's happening, then... Because what did they say in the Reddit post? You said most things are going to be on. How'd you choose the divine skins? Why not port the skins? Yeah, obviously it doesn't work that way. Okay, so they didn't really say anything about that in at least the infographic that they made. A skin microtransaction system doesn't make sense if the game isn't meant to be continued and suddenly gets a sequel after a few years. I mean, after a few years though, right? I mean, Smite's been out for 9 years, hasn't it? I mean, it's been a really long time that Smite's been out. I think that expected 10 years. I mean, it's been 10 years, man. Like, I feel like it's fair. Like, it's not like they're replacing it. It's not like they're pulling a Call of Duty, right? And they're just making a new one every year.
On top of just seeing random gamer faces bitch about this.
Because, like, you got to keep in mind, like, the other thing I was going to bring up is, like, the reason why they're able to make Smite 2 is because of the people that bought the microtransactions in Smite 1. That's where they got the money. So, like, being able to add in some of those skins over time is very reasonable. Like, I think it's very fair for them to say we can't port them all over, but we'll port over some of the ones that people really like. And then we'll give you a discount on the other ones. I think that's very fair.
I'm also seeing guys that I respect in the space, guys like Kira, talk about, you know, fuck this company, Smite about to make crypto bros feel vindicated. I don't know if that commentary even works either, because if all the Smite skins were NFTs, they still wouldn't work in the new game, because
that's what people don't understand. Yeah, just because you have an NFT doesn't mean you can just like flawlessly port over some NFT from one game to another game? What about if the game is made in Unreal and then the other one was made in some proprietary engine? Like, how could you do that? The coding wouldn't even fit together.
To still do that work to make them function on the models regardless. Like this, I don't think this makes crypto bros feel vindicated. I'm also just wondering why people are as outraged as they are. Like, you bought skins in a game that still exists. A new game is coming out and you just expect them to put all that work into transferring all of those skins over. That hasn't been the standard for a long time. Like, you can look at Overwatch 2 and Modern Warfare 3 and hell, even CS2.
It might not be a standard, but it's an ideal. I think it's very fair for people to not be happy that it's not happening. Like, yeah, I think it's very fair. Like, it sucks. It sucks, but there it is.
Yeah, they've done it. FIFA, every year, doesn't take anything that you purchase over. Like, that's not the standard. We've known this for years. And the thing is games like FIFA...
And I also think that you should not ever buy a skin expecting for the game to exist in perpetuity. It is a very unhealthy mindset, and I think it's stupid.
Fucking Call of Duty and Madden, they're a yearly release. Smite has been going on for 10 years. So you expect 10 years of work on skins to be ported over to the new game.
That's crazy.
It feels entitled.
There's no way.
And usually when I have these conversations, I'm on the fucking side of the gamer, because a lot of these companies are scummy companies. They're greedy companies. But I'm trying to figure out where Smite went wrong here. Like, maybe they didn't need to make a sequel, but like, the way I see it is maybe they realized that, like, you know, 10-year-old code, potentially longer, on Unreal Engine 3 is just not going to hold up for what they want to do. They make a new game from...
Here's the problem with Smite. This looks like garbage. That's the problem. It was just like WoW. And what would I say about WoW? It looks like it came out in 2015. It's outdated. I mean, like, of course they want to update the graphics, because the problem is, like, Smite, like, there are games, like, at a certain point, you reach the saturation point where everybody knows about this game and people have just chosen not to play it. And the next chance that you're going to have to, like, really expand that user base is really with the next game. And I think that's why they're making this new game. That's the main reason.
Scratch. They also offer you 50% discounts because you
because you can look, by the way, you can look at the game. Look at the game. Since 2020, which, to be fair, it's grown a lot. But, like, it was doing pretty well. This is in 3 years. Like, it's doing worse than it has in like 3 years. I mean, obviously it's gone up a lot recently because of, I don't know, maybe some sort of update or, you know, the announcement of the second game. But, like, yeah, that's also COVID, right? So, I mean, it's not like the game is doing amazing. And it is still going down from 2023 to 2024. It has gone down aside from this one, like, big update. So I can see, like, you know, they're looking at the graph and they're thinking, wow, our game is dying. It's slowly dying. Yeah, it is. It's slowly dying.
Before, I'm trying to figure out where their greed is coming from. A game that they supported, again, it's a free game for 10 years. Yeah, they have microtransactions for sure, but those microtransactions are all just cosmetic skins. And, like, if you feel like you've been robbed of your thousands of dollars that you spent, even though you're using the skins in the game right now, like, I don't really get it. If Smite 2 just, like, never existed and Smite dropped an update that just removed your skins, like, yeah, you'd have a problem. But this is a sequel. Like, you bought skins for Smite 1, a game that's been in development and, like, supported for 10 years. Like, to me, it would be like if I bought a skin in Rainbow Six Siege for $1. And all of a sudden, Rainbow Six Siege 2 gets announced 3 years from now, and I just expect all of those skins to transfer over. Like, no, this is the standard. This is what we've been talking about for years. This is why microtransactions and buying microtransactions is a waste of money. I guess I'm just like, yeah, it sucks. But, like, also, you knew the assignment here. You know what the fuck this is.
Yeah, that's the thing is like people think that like what do you like you thought you were buying stocks? What is this?
Me, it feels like I'm just seeing a lot of entitlement online and just a lot of just like overwhelming negativity about this game release. And even though I have no skin in the game, as like I'm not a Smite player, I don't play it consistently. I'm just curious as to why there's such outrage here when the standard in the gaming industry is that you release a game every year and your skins from last year don't transfer. Why is this game getting so much heat when they have supported it for 10 years? It just feels strange to me. And maybe that 10 year is like that sunken cost. Like
because people have invested over 10 years, bought a lot of skins, and they want to keep the skins. Like, I don't think that it might not really be all that serious. It's just that they want to keep the skins. That's it.
Realize how much you've spent on it, and like it just sucks that shit. Like, did you think the game was going to be around forever? Like, what would happen if Smite, instead of announcing a sequel, just announced that they were shutting down? Would people be asking for refunds? Would be like,
it's true.
I don't know. It's a weird conversation, but now I'm curious to see if the community is actually
I'm glad that like now, because microtransactions have been the norm for about 15 years now. Like where we've had microtransactions in a lot of games and people are kind of like acclimated to it in the last 10 years. And I'm glad to see that like there are certain games that are going end of service. They are, making a sequel that doesn't port everything over. And I think this is really good because what it does is it gives people a sense of awareness of like, hey, by the way, idiot, this is what you're buying is just transient fucking pixels that you don't even own. And I think that it's a good thing as like a reality check for these people.
Going to support it come launch, or if they're just going to stay on Smite 1 and just let the sequel die. I don't know. It's a weird conversation, and I feel like this is one of those times where I'm not on the side of the gamer, and like I wish I was. I wish I could sit here and be like,
I'm on the side of the gamer. I totally understand where they're coming from. I think that it's super disappointing that they're not going to have the skins, and it sucks. But I can also see why the developer does it, and I totally understand that too. There is no right option here that makes both parties happy that doesn't cost either a tremendous amount of disappointment or a tremendous amount of time. It just sucks. It's sad. And I think that Smite 2 saying, hey, apparently they said that we're going to add in some of the new skins over time after release of Smite 2. I think that is like such a great compromise. That is such a great compromise. And I mean, realistically, for a live service game like this, you couldn't ask for more. I think this is very fair.
No, we gotta talk about this. This company's doing this. I don't know, man. I feel like they did everything as right as they could outside of spending all of that time and resources porting all of your skins over, which if I was in their position, I don't think I would do either. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down below. This is a conversation that has been stirred up.
I would do what they did. I would add in some of the really popular ones, like obviously because like they have graphics and like data on like which skins are being used the most, right? And so I would just take the top 50 of each character or the top 20 of each character and port all of those over, and then say, hey, if there was another one that you guys really like, let us know, and maybe we'll do it after release. Like that's probably what I would do. Top
my
5
timeline, so I wanted to talk about it,
right?
Because hey, there's nothing going on in the FPS space right now. I'm still playing games like the Finals and Rainbow Six and Call of Duty, but I'm not really a gameplay channel, so I don't put just like raw gameplays up and talk over it and stuff like that. And there's really nothing else I want to talk about in the FPS space until we hear news about games like Gray Zone or Pioneer or whatever. So I saw this, I was like, you know what? Microtransactions have been a staple discussion in this community for a while. And I'm curious to know what my community thinks. My name is Big Fry. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more content like this. And I'll see you on the next one.
Oh, Big Fry's in chat. There it is. He says, yeah, every time people are telling you that I was watching, yeah, it's a good video, man. I think you bring up some good points. Like, here's the thing, is like, I fucking agree, man. I agree. I think that gamers are being unreasonable. I'll link you guys the video. Give them a sub if you like the video. This is a good video. It is. And, hard to disagree. Yeah, no, I think this is very fair. And, It's the same gameplay with characters using the same skins being resold. I think that's shady. It's the same gameplay with the same characters. Like, I understand that it seems that way to you, but just understand that it's not that way. Because Unreal 3 and Unreal 5 work differently. It's like saying you should be able to make everything that worked on a PlayStation 2 game automatically upscale to a PlayStation 5 game. There are so many assumptions about game dev here. It's fucking insane. Thanks for the kind words, dude. Yeah, of course, man. It's a great video. I love, because like I know like videos like this can kind of be like I don't know if the word is scary to make, but it can be a little bit like fuck, I'm gonna have to read the comments of all these people thinking that I'm being paid by high res or something like that, right? But the truth is that like any time that you try to assert any sort of viewpoint that isn't, let's burn the place down, people will be looking for your head. They're going to be mad. They're going to call you a shill, etc. And so I appreciate, at least standing on common fucking sense. Obviously, they're not going to port over every fucking skin on release because a handful of people bought all of them. It's a fucking microtransaction. You're talking about not wanting to respect your money. You didn't respect your money when you spent $1,000 of it on a skin for a fucking video game. It's insane. Gamers stop being difficult. Yeah, and like I think that the problem is that like whenever there's like a gaming situation like this is kind of what drives a really big wedge between developers and players. Whenever developers or players are becoming completely unreasonable in what they're asking from the other group. Like, developers asking, you to buy a $60 skin for a horse in Diablo 4. That's insane. And it's also insane for players to think that they should port over every single skin. If they don't respect your money, no one will? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. PoE skins? Path of Exile is porting over everything. They are. They are porting over everything. Path of Exile is an incredible, amazing company. I've played the game and supported it ever since the closed beta, and I think that it's amazing that they're doing that. I think that the developers of Smite probably wish that they could do that. And I think that they will probably try to do more of that in the future. Yeah, you're right. Paying for skins is a way to support the company. Yeah, it is. And it made Smite 2 possible. And that's why I think that, the developers should try to add in some of the skins that people really liked. People are expecting us to port over all the skins on release. I think they just want the skins at some point in time without having to pay for them again. That's totally fair. I agree. I think if you had the skin in the first game, you shouldn't have to pay for it in the second game. Seems kind of cringe. And I feel like it should be like, you should want to have those cool things that like make the people that kept playing the game feel good. Because like, for example, in World of Warcraft, there are these like really cool items and like prestige rewards that some people have that you can never get again. And it makes people think maybe I won't just quit the game immediately whenever I'm not having fun because I might miss out on these really cool rewards. Having legacy items in a game is really cool. But once you do it for long enough, the legacy items become a barrier to entry and they just create FOMO. Like, you want to have FOMO. FOMO is good, but too much FOMO makes it to where people don't want to try the game. So it's like you have to balance these two things out. And it's hard to do that. And I think that Smite is doing the right decision. They're making the right decision. I'll link you guys the video again. And after that, we'll talk about some other stuff too. MapleStory suffers from FOMO to an extreme degree. Yeah. Dev explained in part what's going on here. Is that they're not just copy-paste, they're improving each one. Well, of course they are. Yeah, I mean, they're adding in a new game, basically. I mean, they're making a whole new game. Of course they're going to be improving the skins. I mean, fuck. That's kind of common sense, I would say.